navigation arrows below the animation screen to play, pause, rewind or fast forward the animation. Pregnancy usually lasts about 9 months or 40 weeks and is divided into trimesters. The first trimester is from week 1 until week 12. The second trimester is between weeks 13 and 26, and the third trimester is from week 27 until birth. If you become pregnant, your womb doesn't shed its lining as it normally does at the end of the menstrual cycle, so your periods temporarily stop. This is because the egg, which has been released from one of the ovaries, has been fertilized by a sperm, and you are in the early weeks of pregnancy. Here we show the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, the womb and the vagina. The fertilized egg has already started to divide in the fallopian tube. Organs, including the nervous system and heart, are forming. Here we show the fetus in the womb. By the time you are 12 weeks pregnant, your baby is approximately 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches long. At this stage, your baby's neck is uncurling and the limbs are complete. The eyelids are still fused and the ears are forming. Here we show the baby, the umbilical cord, the placenta and the amniotic fluid. The umbilical cord connects the baby to the placenta. This is how your baby gets nutrients and how waste, such as urine, is removed. In the second trimester, your baby's sex organs develop and other organs mature. The baby swallows amniotic fluid and passes it out through its digestive system. The kidneys start to work and pass small amounts of urine. Your baby can now hear and is covered in fine hair called lanugo. Here we show the baby in the second trimester. You may first feel the baby move in the second trimester of pregnancy.
Through the vagina, you can see the top of the head, even when the mother is not contracting. Bloody show is mucus and blood from the vagina at the beginning of labor, as opposed to breaking water, which is when the amniotic sac fluids and sac ruptures and the amniotic fluid comes out from the vagina. And the presenting part is the first part of a delivering fetus that comes out, and you hope that it's the head because that's the easiest, and you really hope it's not the bottom with the legs folded up because that's very difficult. While most pregnancies go just fine, there are a number of things that can complicate a pregnancy, and we'll talk about each of these. In a miscarriage, a fetus is delivered before it's able to survive outside of the uterus. The major issue for you is that if there's any parts that are retained, particularly the placenta, the patient can have uncontrolled hemorrhage, and the treatment for that is to contact medical control, start an IV to give IV fluids, and evacuate the patient. If it's a simple, uncomplicated miscarriage, you don't necessarily have to evacuate the patient. A pregnant patient can also suffer from what's called eclampsia, which is a pregnancy-related seizure. We don't actually know for sure why these happen, but they're life-threatening to both the mother and the fetus. Your treatment here is airway, breathing, and circulation control and contact medical control. The only medication you're going to have that you'll be able to give is diazepam, an anti-seizure medication, and you need to evacuate the patient if that's the case, that they're having an eclamptic seizure during pregnancy. Premature delivery is sort of the flip side of a miscarriage. The fetus is beyond 23 weeks, and so it's theoretically able to survive outside of the uterus, but it's delivered before it completely develops. And this is a real problem. The delivery will be very easy. These are very small fetuses, but if it's under 30 weeks, unless you happen to have a neonatal intensive care unit right next door, chances are pretty good that the fetus is going to end up dying before you can get it to care. Your hope is always that the head delivers first, but sometimes the wrong parts can show up. So the umbilical cord can prolapse. That means it falls out of
The thing that we have gone through is our electronic charting system. And what happens then is it links us, first of all, with our physicians. So whatever Dr. Lown, for instance, sees or puts in this chart in the office comes through to us the minute that the patient comes to see us in triage. And that is a real benefit, not only for us to know it immediately, but it helps to keep our patients safe.
Yeah. And this is a place you're going to find a lot of smiling faces. We're here with new mom, Jamie Hebner, and Chase, almost 2 days old. Jamie, what did you think of your experience here?
The experience was wonderful, actually. They came in and took care of her every couple hours, answered any questions that we had. Mm-hmm. The food was actually wonderful. They had good omelets, good breakfasts. And the other thing, too, is just the rooms were really nice and large and great for family and friends to come visit. So it was a really good experience.
And she's beautiful.
Thank
Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
We are here at the Spartan Stores Family Childbirth Center at Metro Health Hospital. Come and see it. A beautiful place. Wow, wow. I know, that's wonderful. Actually, they were so beautiful, the babies there. The facilities are great. Having gone through the experience not too long ago, a year and a half ago, can really attest that that would be a very comfortable place to be after going through such an amazing thing.
Right.
You know, that's the biggest thing, pretty much, as you know, moms and dads know, grandparents, to have another member of the family join, you know, the world and your family, and so you really want a comfortable place to have those memorable moments, and it is just beautiful what they have.
It is.
At Metro Health Hospital.
It's an extension of what Metro offers across the board, but really that personal, comfortable feel in the most high-tech, safe environment possible.
All the painkillers, I'm gonna, you know, whatever it is they want to do, want to give me an epidural, just let's do it. Let's have this baby. I just want to give birth now. I'm ready, and I was crying, and Matthew said to me, Victoria, in the calm way that only he can do, he said, Victoria, you know, you can do whatever you want, but remember our intention for this birth was to give Indigo as peaceful and loving and welcoming onto planet Earth as possible, and we want him to know that he's loved and welcome, and we don't want him to come in and experience all these nasty chemicals. And so basically I thought, okay, we'll do it. So he said, let's just try some more things. So I went and I got in the birthing pool, and Matthew went out for a bit, and I did some NLP, I did some EFT where I was tapping on it, and I was asking myself questions, you know, what could it possibly be that's causing me to hold on to this baby, and I was tapping, you know, even though I'm not able to give birth and I'm in so much pain, I deeply, completely love and accept myself. And then it came to me that I needed to give up all my judgment of other people's births and experiences, because just the slightest twist, I could have been there in that hospital, only Matthew hadn't told me, and maybe I would still be. So I gave up all my judgments of anybody else's birth that I had maybe judged. And what I did was I did Ho'oponopono, where you say, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and I focused on anybody who I judged, and I sent them love, and I said, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and I thought about their birth, and I thought, you know, everything's perfect, everything happens for a reason, and it's not for anybody to decide what's good or what's not good, because sometimes baby wants to have a certain experience, and it wants to come in a certain way to have that experience in this lifetime. So,
and adapting. For example, Yeno Adagio shows us one facility with a special water birth center. It's a growing trend.
Come on. She's about to get into the water. The what?
It's a birth plan many moms-to-be are turning to, highlighted in the Jennifer Lopez film, The Backup Plan. Women Women choosing water birth will find a much more sophisticated setup at Brookwood Medical Center. It's the first dedicated water birth suite of its kind in the area.
It's another avenue for them to have some pain relief and to allow their bodies to relax during the birthing process and the laboring process.
Dr. Nate Ross has delivered about half a dozen babies by water birth.
We have to use these gloves that go up to your arm or go up to your shoulder, you know, when we're checking people normally, you know, rather than a glove that just goes to the wrist. So yeah, it's a little bit different experience. You have to bend over in the tub. And
Dr. Ross says his practice delivers about 75 babies each month. 1 or 2 of those are delivered by water birth.
There's definitely a trend of more and more women who are interested in having different options when it comes to natural and unmedicated delivery.
Dr. Ross says in the past, both labor and delivery were done in the tub.
A baby has a natural reflex that it will not try to breathe in if it's underwater. It's a natural reflex.
But these days, the tubs are used mostly just for labor. The water temperature is regulated for both the mother and the baby, and the warmth can ease labor pains.
Give me a mirror, I want to see. But she was like, okay, I'm going to come out now. She came out, and I didn't really get a huge close look at her amniotic sac because I could just see her in it, and I was just so amazed at her, and I was just like so overwhelmed, and I just felt so like amazing, and I just like loved her so much right away. It's just so amazing, like when you see your baby for the first time. And when I held her and I looked at her, I was like, oh my god, she looks so much like my husband, and she's just the sweetest and cutest little thing in the entire world. And she had these huge eyes right from the beginning, and she's just the sweetest thing in the entire world. And it took her a little bit to cry, and I think the reason for that is because she was born in her sack of water. So I didn't really have a water birth, but in a way she was technically born in the water. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, so it was just an amazing experience, and her cry was just so loud and powerful. I was just so amazed at how strong she is. She's such a strong and powerful little girl. She had head control right from the beginning. She basically lifted herself right up off of me and started looking for the nipple on her own. We had a great deal of bonding time together. I'd say it was like 20 minutes to half an hour. We tried to get her to latch, which was hard, but I'll explain that in my breastfeeding update. But yeah, so she was born August 27th at 6:40 in the morning, which was actually sunrise. My labor was about 2 days long, and it was the most amazing and most invigorating experience of my entire life. And I feel like, you know, anyone can do it. It really, really is hard work. I'm not going to say that it wasn't hard work, and I feel like
putting you to sleep. It's usually given early in labour. Click the navigation arrows below the animation screen to play, pause, rewind or fast forward the animation. You will be asked to either lie on your side with your knees drawn up to your tummy and your chin tucked in, or to sit up on the bed and lean forward. Both positions open up the spaces between the bones in your lower back. Your anaesthetist carefully selects a point to inject by feeling for specific bones in the spine. He or she may mark this.
More important than any silly childish fears. So it was kind of like, and once I realized that and I was able to clear it, pretty much almost immediately I stood up and I washed my hands and I thought, oh my gosh, Matthew, I'm going to give birth now. And so I called Matthew, and basically we had planned to give birth in the birthing pool, but are you okay, our Indigo? He's okay. He's okay. We planned to give birth in the birthing pool, but something said to me, Victoria, you're not going to give birth in the birthing pool, we're going to clean a new space, because basically the birthing pool filled up my entire bedroom. So we cleared a new space and we put a mattress down, and do you want to help me? Do you want to talk about what happened next?
What point are we at?
Well, we cleared the space and I got down onto my hands and knees and started to push.
Oh yeah, and I said, Are you sure you should be pushing them? Is your cervix fully dilated?
And for whatever, you know, I was totally, at that moment, I was completely gone. You know, when you're giving birth, something happens and you're on a different plane. And I kind of just looked up to him and I said, Matthew, I'm giving birth to my baby now.
You'd connected to your higher self.
I connected to my higher self, and you know, it wasn't about how dilated my cervix was or anything else. I just knew intuitively that in that moment I needed to push. I mean, I'd read books where it said, oh, you don't need to push, the baby comes out naturally. And for my sister and I think my mom, neither of them really thought that they pushed, the baby just came out. But definitely I really needed to push. And I really felt that I needed to push, and it felt really good once I started pushing. So I sent Matthew out of the room for a bit.
Then I realized then that the baby really was coming after 3 days of, it was just like a complete endurance test. For me as well, actually, because like Tori was like going through contractions like literally every 10 or 15 minutes for 3 days and 3 nights consistently. And I was sitting there with her, so we literally had no sleep whatsoever for that time. And you know, with the whole tension of, you know, when's this going to happen? Each day it wasn't happening. So as soon as that happened, I kind of realized that, okay, it really is happening now. And
do a water birth. I didn't feel like in that tub I would be able to be in the right position. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to get this done. I don't want to mess around with anything. I'm like, I want to get in the best possible position to get a baby out. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm going to squat. That's what I'm going to do. And I was kind of thinking about squatting on my own, but they had one of these stools that are shaped kind of like moons. I don't know what they're called, but I was like, I looked at that thing and I was like, that's what I'm going to deliver my baby on. That is the perfect thing, because I knew I needed to be, like, I just naturally knew I needed to be upright. That's just the way I knew I needed to do it. My husband was behind me. He was sitting on the bed, and my midwife came in and she saw the selection I made of where I wanted to be, and she was like, oh, okay, good choice. And I was really, really chill during my pushing stage. I remember, to me, pushing felt like 5 or 10 minutes, but it took me about 27 minutes to push her out, like when I watched the footage. And I remember it feeling a little bit more intense than I make it seem. Like when I watch my footage, you guys will see I'm pretty chill during my pushing stage for the most part. Like, I pretty much managed to remember to say thank you and please. Like, I was fine. I wasn't like, you know, like you see in movies, like people screaming their heads off. It's just, it's not like that at all. And it feels so good to be in the pushing stage, because you're like, oh, thank God I'm almost there. And because the contractions are really the worst part, guys. Like, it's not the pushing. I mean, the pushing does hurt. I'll get to that in a minute though. I just kind of went with it. My contractions varied anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes apart, my pushing contractions, and they feel a little bit similar to the regular contractions, but there's just a lot more pressure, and you can really see your belly just bear down, like it's helping you get the baby out. And I just felt really, really good about it. Like, I felt really, really strong when I was having my pushing contractions. Like, I was just so surprised at how much power I had in my body. I was just so amazed. I'm like, man, I'm a really, really strong person, and it makes you feel...
So I held indigo while all this was happening.
Oh yeah, Matthew held indigo the whole time.
It was very intense, really intense.
It was quite intense, and I just breathed in and out of the machine, of the gas and air thing. And she was able to take out the placenta, and I think
with her hand.
And I think there's no way it would have come out naturally, because it was actually stuck to my side of my
to the womb.
Stuck
to the womb.
So that's really the story of the birth, and then obviously I had to rest for a few days. But basically the Sudanese doctor came to see us, and she said she'd never seen that before in her life, that somebody had the placenta taken out without any...
After 2 days. She said she'd never come across a placenta that had been actually in for 2 days, without being taken out. And they thought that
they thought I was lying about how when he was born.
They were amazed by the cord, that it was all dried up. They said, are you sure this baby was only born 2 days ago? Because the cord was so dried up, because we hadn't cut it for 12 hours. They'd never seen that before. So
and usually sometimes the cord gets all kind of, you have to be really careful with it and put disinfectant on it, you know, but it was almost, it dried up really well, didn't it?
They were amazed at, you know, like some of them said, like, part of us are just so angry at you for not you know, getting proper medical assistance, and the other part's just like, wow, well done, you know, you just given birth to a super healthy baby. You know, they gave him like APGAR score of 9 out of 10, and
about 7 o'clock.
If you want, you need to try to do it.
By the time you are 12 weeks pregnant, your baby is approximately 6 centimetres or 2.5 inches long. At this stage, your baby's neck is uncurling and the limbs are complete. The eyelids are still fused and the ears are forming. Here we show the baby, the umbilical cord, the placenta and the amniotic fluid. The umbilical cord connects the baby to the placenta. This is how your baby gets nutrients and how waste, such as urine, is removed. In the second trimester, your baby's sex organs develop and other organs mature. The baby swallows amniotic fluid and passes it out through its digestive system, bigger and stronger. Braxton Hicks, or practice contractions, are painless tightenings of the womb that may start from around 20 weeks of pregnancy. Your baby's lungs mature throughout the third trimester. The baby makes breathing movements, even though the lungs don't work properly until birth. The baby grows fine hair and fingernails. The eyes open and close, and teeth may start growing under the gums. Your baby's fat stores also increase in preparation for birth. Braxton Hicks contractions become stronger in the third trimester. At the end of your pregnancy, your baby changes position so it is ready for birth. The baby's head may not engage